TSMC leads in advanced chip packaging wars. Taiwan's VP to transit in New York and San Francisco. Donald Trump faces 4 charges over efforts to overturn 2020 election. Fitch downgrades U.S. credit rating. Turkey curbs credit card use for foreign travel. Eurozone returns to economic growth as inflation falls. Invasion causes Ukraine wartime baby bust. China to curtail kids' smartphone use.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Friday, August 4th, and here are your top stories. According to data and analytics company LexisNexis, Taiwanese chipmaker TSMC has developed the most expansive arsenal of patents surrounding advanced chip packaging, followed by Samsung Electronics and then Intel. The data from LexisNexis, released last month, indicates that TSMC and Samsung have steadily invested in advanced packaging technology for years, as Intel did not keep pace with its own filings.
According to LexisNexis, Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing has the highest quality cache of 2,946 advanced packaging patents. Samsung Electronics, which ranks second in terms of quantity and quality of the patents, has 2,404. Ranked third, Intel has 1,434 patents in its advanced packaging portfolio. The 3 businesses are the only companies in the world that have or plan to deploy the technology to fabricate the most complex, advanced chips.
Taiwan's presidential office said on Wednesday that Vice President William Lai will stop in New York and San Francisco in the United States on his way to and from Paraguay for the inauguration of its new president. Lai, the front-runner for the island's presidential vote in January, will stop in New York on August 12th on his way to Paraguay and in San Francisco on August 16th on his way back to Taiwan. The top U.S. diplomat in Taipei described the transits as routine.
At a presidential office news conference, Taiwan's Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Yui said, "This should not create discomfort for other parties or become an excuse to deepen conflict." Yui said the arrangement for the U.S. transit was based on the principles of comfort, safety, convenience and dignity. Taiwan's government last month announced Lai's transit. The director of the American Institute in Taiwan, Sandra Audkirk, urged China not to take provocative action in response to the brief visits.
U.S. federal prosecutors have charged Donald Trump over his efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election in a desperate attempt to stay in power. The indictment charges Trump with 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of, and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights. The indictment also listed 6 co-conspirators who played central roles in the plot to keep Trump in office.
Charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States.
The charges marked the first time Trump has faced criminal charges for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. It is also the first time a U.S. president has faced criminal charges for trying to overturn the election. The indictment says, despite having lost, the defendant was determined to remain in power. It says on November 3, 2020, the defendant spread lies that there had been outcome-determinative fraud in the election and that he actually won. These claims were false and the defendant knew they were false.
Fitch Ratings downgraded the U.S. government's credit rating. The downgrade is evidence that increasingly frequent political skirmishes over the U.S. government's finances are clouding the outlook for the $25 trillion global market for treasuries. Fitch's rating on the U.S. now stands at AA+, or 1 notch below the top AAA grade. Fitch said Tuesday that the downgrade reflects an erosion of governance in the U.S. relative to other top-tier economies over the last 2 decades.
America's reputation for reliably making good on its IOUs has cast doubt on Treasury bonds as an indispensable role in global markets, which are viewed as a safe haven security offering nearly risk-free returns. Treasuries serve as a critical benchmark for returns on stocks and other bonds, because investors generally demand greater yields on any other securities that they buy. Moody's, the other member of the 3 big U.S. ratings firms, continues to give the U.S. its strongest assessment.
Turkey's banking watchdog has stopped allowing credit card payments by installment for foreign travel, such as flights, travel agency fees, and accommodation. The move, which hit airline shares and was seen as curbing foreign currency outflows, was one of two measures announced by the BDDK watchdog late on Monday, which it said were among coordinated steps to strengthen financial stability. However, tourism operators said travelers commonly use credit cards to finance trips.
Türkiye'de 66 milyon kredi kartı kullanıcısı var.
Tourism operators say they have been hit by a cost of living crisis and weakness in the lira, which has lost half its value against the dollar since end 2021. They forecast a sharp fall in international travel after a surge in spending by Turkish citizens abroad in the first half of the year to $3.17 billion, an 84% increase from the same period in 2022, with such spending facilitated by credit card outlays. Turkish authorities have recently taken steps aimed at reining in chronic high inflation and reducing domestic demand.
The Eurozone's economy has returned to growth after a long period of stagnation as inflation in the 20-member currency area continues to fall from last year's peak. The EU statistics agency Eurostat said economic activity expanded by 0.3% in the second quarter, while the inflation rate declined from 5.5% to 5.3% in July. Financial markets rose on the back of the positive figures, which show the Eurozone's consumers and firms have been more resilient in dealing with rising interest rates than many forecast.
Inflation is down in the 20 countries that use the euro.
The German stock market continued a streak of gains that pushed values to an all-time high, while Italy's FTSE MIB added 0.5% to touch fresh 15-year highs, lifted by the state-controlled defense and aerospace group Leonardo. However, analysts warned that the better-than-expected recovery across the single currency bloc meant the European Central Bank, ECB, was likely to increase interest rates further in the autumn. Last week, the ECB governor, Christine Lagarde, said further increases were possible.
Official statistics indicate the war in Ukraine has caused the country's birth rate to fall by 28%. Before Russia invaded, up to 23,000 babies were born in Ukraine every month, but this has now fallen to about 16,000. This is the biggest fall since Ukraine gained independence in 1991. The birth rate figures, collated by Ukrainian data analytics website OpenDataBot, are in line with observations by demographic experts who have recorded similar declines in previous wars.
Young kids, even in this war in Ukraine, who've been left without support. In many cases, they've been torn apart from their families.
The U.S.-based Population Reference Bureau says that during civil conflicts, fertility rates typically fall by up to one-third, but rebound quickly after the fighting ends. However, there is not much imbalance between the sexes. In Ukraine, in the first half of 2023, the number of boys born was 49,626, while girls totaled 47,129. The last time there was anything like as big a drop in Ukraine's birth rate was when Russia invaded and annexed Crimea in 2014. The following year, the number of babies went down by 12%.
China's internet overseer laid out regulations Wednesday to prevent minors from spending too much time on their smartphones. According to the regulations published by the Cyberspace Administration of China, non-adult children won't be allowed to access the internet from mobile devices from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Other restrictions include a maximum of 2 hours mobile usage for kids between the ages of 16 to 18. Since 2021, Beijing has sought to combat what it views as social ills.
China could soon impose new limits on screen time for children.
Beijing imposed limits on online gaming for kids and declared for-profit after-school tutoring illegal in 2021. At one point in 2021, state-backed media referred to gaming as spiritual opium. It's unclear how regulators intend to enforce the proposed ban, though mobile carriers and services often require real name registration. Several Chinese apps already have limitations in place for minors, though it's unclear how widespread those are and how rigidly enforced.
Now let's delve into the news of China curtailing kids' smartphone use. Number 1. Curtail. 限制, 缩短, 缩减. The lecture was curtailed by the fire alarm going off. Number 2. Maximum. 最大量, 最大限度, 最高限度. The job will require you to use all your skills to the maximum. Number 3. Lay out something. 清晰谨慎地提出策划计划论点等. All the terms and conditions are laid out in the contract. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time. 这次加薪的幅度呢，我认为会是落在10%到15%这样的一个区间。跟其他员工最大的不同部分呢，是我能够就像刚刚提到的，我可以在一个企划案还没有生成的时候，我可以先有一个远大的目标，我能够知道整个 big picture 是什么东西。
不好意思。
我的针对于这样的一个认可度，我大概有70-80%的把握，我可以获得升迁及加薪。
Johnny， 那个非常不好意思，我可能要在这边告知你，你已经被资遣了。对，是真的非常抱歉。那可能要麻烦你在下礼拜5之前，就是把你的个人物品先收拾干净，这样。有没有什么事我可以帮你的吗？那如果没有什么问题的话，再麻烦你把你的员工证交回给原主管，这样。好，那如果没有什么问题的话，我们今天就到这边。真的非常不好意思。
我可以知道是什么原因吗？
有同仁反映，最近冰箱的食物很常不见，我常常看到你在附近徘徊。我买的面包也是买了，然后一个下午就不见了。你该不会知道什么？
我不知道。
What we do, master your English and become irreplaceable in the workplace. Join Funday now. No matter your English level, we can help you elevate your competitiveness. Funday.